All right, good morning, everybody. We are, let's see, it's Wednesday today. So we are meeting Mondays through Thursdays at the Resale Revenue Facebook group. And we meet here live on Zoom those days at 8 a.m. Central Time. If you want to join us, hop onto a Facebook group and join. And there's instructions on how to get on Zoom. It's free until January. So I forgot to do our metrics on Monday. So now we're going to have we're going to go back and do our metrics from Monday really quick at the beginning of this call because we have to be checking those. And I don't know about anybody else, but I've had some metrics issues more so this last couple of weeks than any other time. So it's important to keep an eye on those. So let me share my screen here and we'll just hop through our metrics really quick. Make sure we're paying attention. So the first one I always go through, we go to orders. Make sure we check our returns, which I know I have some. There's a couple here. Make sure that they're waiting on, nobody's waiting on you to do anything for the next step, but here we're waiting for the buyer to ship. Then we always go to requests and disputes. Really important if you have anything underneath here that we take care of it. And the biggest issue I see with people with this is it'll say, like you'll see that it's tracking. And so you just assume eBay has a tracking number, which they do, but you have to address it and go ahead and say update tracking and put that tracking back in. And it kind of helps reset things a little bit. So make sure you take care of anything underneath the requests and disputes. Then we go to feedback. Just make sure that we don't have any negative or neutral to take care of. So make sure that we're all good on that front. And then we go to performance tab. Into, let's see, the 20th. So we have 2 days to our reevaluation period. So it's kind of important to make sure that I don't know if there's a whole lot we can do about it at this point, but it's good to be in the know and know where we stand. So there's the past level, current level. I would look and see what if we evaluated you today level is. Of course, we all want to make sure that says top rated. It does not. We just need to know why so we can get ourselves back on track. Transaction defect rate, we always hope this is 0. If it's not, put that pull down box right there. Let's get that full report and figure out what happened. The late shipment rate, just know, I know exactly what that one package is. Just make sure we're far away from 3% or less. So stay far away from that. Cases closed without seller resolution, we hope it's 0 all the time. If it's not, we absolutely need to know why, so we don't do it again. Tracking uploaded on time and validated. Just know your number again. It's got to be at 95 or above to keep your top rated status. So then real quick, hop over to go back to that tab of performance. And we'll go to service metrics. This is like our returns and our INADs, which is these. I've had more false INADs lately that I can count. So this is our current rate. If you sell in more than one category, you need to be checking the different categories you sell in. And then we go to projected rate. And then that's when we need to figure out where we are and then which ones will be held against us. If you look on this past rate, you will be able to see, or even on your current rate or whatever, you are able, maybe it's just the last one, you're able to download the report so that you can see which ones are included in your metrics. See right here on the left-hand side, download report. Then it tells you which ones basically they're holding against you. So if they say no and they are not held on your metrics, you're fine. It's like that doesn't fit or whatever, but it'll tell you which ones are on there. Then your item not received is totally separate here. We need to check that out. Current, projected. This is another issue I had. One that I need to lost somewhere. So I'm following up with that. So just make sure we are checking all these things, because if we aren't, we don't know how we're going to fix things or what we need to do different. So sorry about that. I forgot about that Monday, and then I forgot about it Tuesday. And so apparently I just was forgetting things. after we're going to interview Lynn for our coach interview today, and she does the jewelry call with me. So we're going to do that first. And then we're going to take time after that, and we'll stop the YouTube portion and we'll take questions if anybody has any reselling questions. We haven't done that for a while. We used to have question time together every day, and we haven't had it for a long time. So if anybody has any questions, I try to catch those at the end of the call, but lately we've been just chock full of good stuff and haven't had time. So, all right, Lynn. So Lynn does the jewelry call with me. Lynn was my first jewelry mentor, so she's been there since I've been in the jewelry world. She's been there helping me, and we've been talking about do a podcast together for a long time, and so doing our jewelry call together seemed like a great way to take care of that so that I could get it in the schedule. So Lynn, I'm going to turn over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself or your business and reselling and all that good stuff.
All right. Hi, everybody. I am Lynn. I live in Illinois. I'm about 5 hours from Cary. Unfortunately, we're not closer. I have 2 grown kids and a retired husband and 2 grandpups that we get to watch every once in a while. And I've owned my own business for, gosh, since 1991, I've always had a business. So I've always been doing Schedule C all my life. And I've owned businesses from gift shops to like a wine and coffee shop. So I've had some retail stores. I've had some home-based businesses. I've worked for other people as well, and that never really went that well. I did work for a wine company, a couple wine companies that I thoroughly enjoyed, but I also worked for a couple photographers through my life. And let's see, what else is exciting about my life? I think with the retail stores that I owned, I wanted a little bit more freedom, and I could never get satisfied with having to go into work every day. I know everybody does it and it's part of life, but I just could never get settled or situated to a point where I was totally happy. And I met a business partner, and we started flipping houses basically. And at that time, we kind of ran into a lot of vintage items, and I would take them vintage items and sell them at an antique mall or sell them on eBay. So when I closed my retail storefront, I had sold the remaining inventory I had on eBay. So I had started doing that in 1999. So I've been on there a long time, but I haven't been selling full time or, consistently on it since then until about 2019 when I was selling with my business partner. I was doing all the work. I'll just come right out and say it. I was doing all the work, and we decided to split. And it was one of the best things I could have done because I started selling on eBay myself. And I thought, if I'm doing this for both of us, why not do it for myself? So I came across a huge, huge auction of inventory of all vintage items. It was a store that went out of business, and the store was like a warehouse. And I ended up buying, I don't know, 5 truckloads of stuff. Yeah. And it was right before, this terrible thing that happened. And I came home with all this inventory, and then everything shut down, and I had plenty to list. So I continued buying like in the years to come, but it was just filling my house up. So I ended up selling out of the vintage stuff and switching to jewelry because it was a lot smaller. I was looking for littler items, so I would pick up vintage Christmas items. And I started learning about jewelry because I was just really interested in it. I loved it. I loved the fact that it was quality back then compared to how it's made nowadays. So I started looking into the jewelry designers, and I learned a lot just by research. Online was a little difficult because there's so many conflicting stories about all the designers. So books were my best source. Um, let's see, I'm trying to think where to go from there. I really enjoy it. I love jewelry. I hate cleaning it, but I do love it. Um, I think with this jewelry call, I want to teach people what I've learned, but I'm definitely not an expert in the field because I do say some things wrong. Um, I have a YouTube channel that I put the information that I've researched on, and I do have people tell me that I'm wrong. So I have to go back and research and find stuff, again and correct myself. So I do the best that I can with it. Let's put it that way. There is so much to know about jewelry that I don't think any person could know everything. It's way extensive. And like I said, I can do the best I can. I want to teach people in the jewelry call basically what I know. And I want to learn from you guys too, because everybody knows different things about it. And it's just so much fun to me. In the call, I have put together a plan with Carrie's approval, hopefully, that we'll teach a lot of variety. Like, I want to start the call with something a little bit fun, just a little game, just a little trivia question or something quick. And then we're going to go into like the Victorian era or the retro era, teach about clasps, stone names, how to clean jewelry, testing, sourcing, everything you need to know about jewelry. Plus, we're going to do designers, like go through a whole scenario with the history of designers on up to what materials they used, and then the eBay marks, or not the eBay marks, the marks they used on it, and then go to eBay search and research it. So that's kind of where what I'm looking at for this call, and definitely learning about I want to learn about the business side of things. Since I've had so many businesses in my past life, I've never really, how can I say it? I've never really let them grow big enough. I was always moving on to the next thing. I did have my gift shop and wedding shop was probably the longest that I've had a business, and it was 10 years. And in that time frame, that's when Beanie Babies were big, and somebody told me about them, and I decided to start selling them. I ended up adding on to my house. I did an addition on my house with the profits from the Beanie Babies. So it was very, very beneficial back in the day. Not so much anymore, but yes, I still have some in a Rubbermaid in my basement. So um, that's, I guess, the extent of what I can think of to tell you about myself. I don't know. You have any questions, Carrie?
Yeah, so you sell just jewelry now for the most part?
Yes. Yeah, I
And you
do
do,
vintage Christmas as well. I don't have a whole lot of it, but when I see it out and I see something good that I know will sell good, I'll pick it up. But it can't be huge. It's got to fit in a small Rubbermaid.
because you were an everything seller up until somewhat recently, right?
Well, 2019, when I listed all that bigger stuff, it took me, it actually took me up till June of this year when I was going to have a yard sale, and I cleared out, I don't know, 25 Rubbermaids of stuff and put it on the yard sale and then donated the rest. So I had it in my inventory, but for the past 4 years is really when I've been selling the jewelry.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked out Lynn's YouTube channel, it is really good, especially if you're into jewelry, and it's the finds of yesterday. on YouTube, and she does a great job and needs to not worry about what people say about her pronunciations and stuff. She needs to just say it and do her thing, and she does a great job. So I think she does good. She's the creativeness behind our jewelry call, because if I just had to present it, it all just ends up in business bullet points, and she does like cute little slideshows and stuff. So she does a good job. Can you think of like your favorite sale you've ever had with jewelry?
Of course, I had one because it was the highest price one I sold was it was all it was a little grape cluster brooch, and the little pearls that were on it are called baby tooth pearls. They actually look like baby teeth, and it sold for $750 within a day.
Nice.
No, I take that back. I had it on auction. It went fast. Like the bids were going up on it pretty fast. So it was a 7-day time frame, but it sold immediately.
And then you cross your
That
fingers and
was
hope it doesn't get
my
returned.
favorite. Yeah, I
That's what
did. And they didn't have, well, I don't know that they would even do jewelry authentication on that, but it was a Trifari. And the funny thing about that was I found it at a flea market, and the guy that sold this jewelry he just takes his jewelry and just spreads it out on the table. He doesn't like organize it or anything. It's just in a cluster. Sometimes you have to untangle necklaces. Brooch was in there, and I looked at it thinking, all the stones are there. I flipped it over. Oh, Trifari, that's good. So I bought it for like, I don't know, $1.50 maybe, because I put a bunch of pieces together. And it was the best purchase I ever bought. I didn't know it at the time, but that's the fun thing about jewelry. You get it home and research it. It could be dirty as heck, clean it up, make it look good, and you never know.
Nope. And sometimes it doesn't look good. Sometimes it's ugly and it's still worth a lot of money. So you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but can you think of like, have you ever had like a big business altering haul as far as a big find or a big sourcing opportunity you had that really changed things for you?
When I found the flea market and I went there the first time and I came home with a half of a backpack full, I realized, and it was decent stuff. It wasn't, because I was picking and choosing, I wasn't buying it by the lot. Um, that was probably the deciding factor that I finally found a decent local source. That was the best one for me. It still is to this day.
Just a
And I
few
can't
vendors,
count on
or
it because what
is it just like one vendor that's really good, or you kind of, that's a whole mix of vendors there usually?
there's one vendor in particular, but there is a lot of vendors there. This place is room after room after room. It's a huge flea market, and they even have outdoor vendors. In the nicer days, more vendors come. So they're always adding new people, and they're always full. It's always packed.
Nice. Russell asked, what's the best or worst part of selling jewelry?
The best part about selling jewelry to me is because I love the pieces. The quality of the pieces compared to nowadays. It's small, it's easy to store. That's obviously the best reason. The worst part of selling jewelry, cleaning earrings. I I hate when I get it on my light box and then I'm messing around with it, trying to take close-up pictures, and I zoom in and this disgusting green stuff is all over the back of it, and I have to stop my photography and go put it on my counter and sit there and take a toothbrush and scrub it and clean it off. That's the worst part to me.
Anybody else have any questions for
Sounds like
Lynn?
selling shoes. It is like selling shoes because I used to sell shoes too, and I hated that part of it. It was you have to clean every one of them.
Do you see yourself
Um,
in with the
yeah, go ahead.
jewelry for the long term, or do you have other plans?
Right now, jewelry is my thing, and I don't have any desire to go back to do anything different. I have about 5,000 items in my store right now, and all I'm doing, it just keeps staying about 5,000, even though I'm listing 15 a day and maybe selling during the summer months. Right now, it's only at 7. During the winter months, it gets up to about 12, 14 items a day. But my store of 5,000 has a lot of old inventory that I picked up in the beginning that I didn't really know much about. So I'm trying to go through it, all of it, and pull it off, and then go through it individually and decide if it's good enough that it should have sold, it just needs to be rejuvenated, to put it back up, or just put it in a lot and sell it as a lot. I'm starting to accumulate a lot for lots. But yeah, 5,000 items on like one 3-foot wide shelving unit. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm still going through some of my Rubbermaids. It's only half of a room. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I can see where that could definitely be a benefit versus shoes or clothing or sombreros and lampshades and
Meg.
Yes.
First, I'm gonna say that I was scared for you for a second. I thought you were gonna say the addition to your house had all Beanie Babies in it, and I was like, oh, need an intervention.
Yeah,
So
Beanie
that's
Baby
not,
intervention.
secondly, do you wear jewelry? And if so, like, what do you like to wear?
One comment about that. Like I said, I have one Rubbermaid downstairs, and my daughter's seen it, and she said, you can't get rid of that, because I was considering putting it on the art sale. And she goes, no, you can't get rid of that, because when I was selling them, she was really little, and we took a photograph of her sitting on a bench, and she's covered in Beanie Babies, and it won an award because it was just so darn cute. But she wants me to keep that Rubbermaid for her, supposedly.
I got a
But
Rubbermaid too. It's okay in my childhood, like bedroom. No judgment.
What did you say? What
Oh, I
do I
asked if
like?
you wear jewelry personally, and if so, what do you like to wear? Like, what designers do you like?
Well, I sit in front of a computer all day and don't hardly wear any jewelry, but like when we had a wedding this past weekend, what do? I just go on my app and I start looking for gold necklace with heart, and I can just go to my inventory, pick it out, wear it, put it back in the envelope when I'm done, put it back on the shelf. I have a inventory of 5,000 items to pick from to wear whenever I go out. So my taste, I'm not like Suzanne, where we're big and gaudy and beautiful rhinestone necklaces. I can put them on, and then I'm just like, it's just not me. It's not me. And then I'll take it off, and I'll go find something a little bit simpler. But I do like the vintage pieces. Like Trifari and Monet have some really pretty, just they're always in such good shape. The gold tone stays shiny, and they may have a pendant of some sort. Just simple. I like long necklaces
Nice.
and long earrings because my hair covers up the short ones.
Yeah, it is nice shopping. We're like borrowing from your inventory. I do that with clothing and jewelry.
Exactly.
We did that for my daughter-in-law's wedding for when my son got married. Everybody's like, oh, we gotta go find jewelry. What a pain. I'm like, well, shop my store. I'll pull it out.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Well, nope. I appreciate that Lynn did jump in here today, because I had to shuffle some stuff around, and I'm like, it was like yesterday afternoon. I'm like, hey, let's do your interview tomorrow. Russell says recommended starting point for someone thinking of getting into jewelry.
Honestly, research. If you're doing something else at the same time, just keep doing that, but start researching and finding out what is the better pieces. You're not gonna, it's gonna take a long time to learn that way, but eliminate the time frame or the amount of jewelry you pick up that aren't worth anything. It might be worth it to research it. But again, when you do pick up that stuff, you're touching it, you're feeling it, you're seeing the quality of it, you're understanding why it's better than some of the stuff you see today. You're learning as you're picking it up. But the other thing that I didn't do in the beginning was I didn't sell my stuff out fast enough. Like the old stuff, the stuff that I thought was good wasn't selling. Figure out a way to just get rid of it. Don't hang on to it for a year or 2 years. Let it go through a Christmas season. That's how I look at it. I just make sure that it's gone at least through one Christmas season because that's the best time to sell. And after that, if it hasn't sold in 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, start decreasing the prices faster because there's always more jewelry out there to buy.
Yep, good advice. I agree. I'm going to end this on YouTube. So join us on Reseller Revenue Facebook group if you'd like to be in on our chats.